Hello everyone, this is the Tosif Javed and we are having our class 2 of Selenium training. So today we will discuss things about the locator techniques. So as we have discussed in the previous session, we have different locator techniques like ID, class name, name, CSS selectors, XPath, partial text, or many other things. So we are going to select the elements using some locators, and as we have already discussed ID, class name and name, so we will focus on the XPath locating techniques, which is really useful and also complex technique for finding elements. So here we have the link of our LinkedIn page, which you could follow. And here we, sorry, what are you saying? Hello, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Okay. So can you see my screen now? Okay. So here we have the video link of our previous session. If you want to learn about Selenium basics, so we could check them here. So starting with the XPath locating techniques. First of all, we will talk about the plain XPath. So here we already discussed the format. We will use double slash, then a tag name, and then at the rate with attribute name, and then is equal to with value. So simply if I want to locate an element, so first of all I need to target the tag. So let's suppose if I follow it here, just give me a second. So here we have a window. If I open anything, let's suppose Facebook. So here we have a sign up page. And if we open a window for Google sign up, so let's suppose if we target this page, to find any element, first we need to target the tag. So here this element is an input field. Okay. So the tag is input. So I will use double slash input. And by using that, I could target all the input fields on the page. So here are six input fields, one, two, three, four, five, six. So we could target any of them. So if we are only giving the tag, so then it will find all the elements with the tag. So if we want to continue further, if we want to locate a specific element, so we need attributes. So let's suppose we could select any attribute for this specific element. Let's suppose I am selecting this class. So I will type it @ class. So till now it will find all the elements which are input and which have tag attribute, which have a class attribute. So here we still have all those elements because all of them have class attribute. So if we want to specify, so we could do like that. Class is equal to UHS. So if we provide the value, so then we see that we have five unique elements now. 6.1 is gone. 6.1 was a checkbox, so it had a different class. So we targeted elements on the basis of class, but class is not a unique identifier here. So on the basis of class, it found five different elements. So if we want to target this one specifically, then we could select any other attribute. Let's suppose in this case we could go for area label. So as an attribute I will just type area label, and as its value I will type the value. So by doing that I have targeted that specific element, that single element. Any questions by now? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, that is an option. We can go with the index, but that is not a good option. Like, let's suppose if your page is changed in the future. So first name is the second input field. Let's suppose after a month. So then if you are going by index, so what will you get? You will get the wrong XPath, and automation will be out of order in that case. Yeah, exactly. We should always go for the unique attributes which make sense. So let's for the first name, area label would be first name, or even if it is changed, so it would not be like that email has area label as first name. So first name would always have an area label which makes sense for the first name. So in this specific one, let's suppose if I go like this, I have input, so I am selecting index. So I will still find six or five of them actually. Got my point? Because every one of them is the first child of their parent. Okay, they are first child of their parent diff. They are first input feed inside their parent diff. So that's why with the index it is going in another direction. Mhm. Yes, we can. Let's suppose you are saying that the thing we had this thing. Okay, so you mean we put it here, right? Yeah, we will still find five elements because first of all we found element with its attribute, its class attribute, and once we found, so we are telling that that element should be the first one. So first one of what? First child of its parent. Okay. So each of them is first child of their parent. Okay. We have a complex HTML DOM here. So every element is already packed inside a div. So it is first child of its parent div. Understood? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So as we were selecting on the basis of area label, so if we don't give value here, so it would still find five elements because all of them have area label. So then I provide first name. So that's how we found an element on the basis of its attribute. We need to identify a unique attribute and then we will find an element. Then that same XPath could be used for others by just changing the value in the area label. Let's suppose this. It is last name, then it could be username. Okay, password, and for the confirm password, it is I guess only confirm. Okay, so we could target each element specifically. So that is one thing. Now we will select, we will open this URL in our browser first, and then we can simply find some elements by their XPaths as we have first name for the first one. So this thing dot send keys. We could pass any value. So here we will pass Selenium. Then let's pause changing it here. Class 02. As we discussed, we would only change value of area label here. So here it is username, and that field takes value behind the at gmail.com. So we could do something like this. And for the password, we are giving password. For the confirm password, we will use the same password. So here we simply are sending keys. Mean we are typing into these elements. So let's try it first. If everything goes correctly, it should open Chrome browser and then Google sign up page into it, and then should populate these fields. Okay, there we go. Any questions by now? So here we use plain XPath to just find elements on the basis of their attributes. So that's the most common way of finding elements using XPath. And like if we don't have a unique ID or unique class or name or most common attributes, then CSS selectors or XPath are our only options. And if we have a complex scenario, so then XPath is our only option. So that's how we have used a simple XPath, a plain one, for finding the elements on the basis of their attributes. So now moving forward, we could create other XPaths like this. Let's suppose an input with the attribute type is equal to text, or an anchor where we are finding it on the basis of the URL or hyperlink reference it has, or a div on the basis of its ID. So there could be many examples. We could use any tag name, any attribute name, any value depending upon our situation. So moving forward, we have text-based XPaths. Sometimes we don't want to find elements on the basis of their attributes, or we don't have unique attributes. Like sometimes IDs are randomizing every time, so you can't find on the basis of ID or something like that. So in such cases, we could find on the basis of text. So in our example, for the text-based XPath, instead of using attribute with at the rate, we will use text function. So if we use a function or text as a property, so we will simply type text and then parenthesis after that. Okay. So there is no at the rate. At the rate was for the attributes here, but in case of the tag name, where we want to find elements on the basis of their text, we don't have at the rate before because text is not an attribute. Like if I open a DOM here, so we can see that this text show password is not a value of any of these attributes. Okay, there we have ID, class, JS name, but show password is not a value of any of these attributes. So show password is a text, so we could get it by text method. text function of XPath. So that's how we are getting that we will use text and then brackets parenthesis, which could be used after every function. So here I will try to make a locator for this div. So simply I will type div and then text. So here we have 8 divs. So all of these 8 divs have text. So we need to look at this one specifically. So we will simply use the text here. Show password. Okay. So here we have the unique element, a single element on the basis of its text. So here we didn't had a logical attribute. Like all of these attributes are not making sense that one would know that what was located. So, but by reading this locator, one could understand that what is located here. So we could locate this driver dot find element by xpath dot click. So on the basis of text, we could click on show password and could check the checkbox. So let's execute it here. Okay. So here we have filled the whole form by doing this. So we have some other examples for the text-based XPath, as we have seen one. So others could be like we want to reach a label depending upon its text, or an anchor, or a div, or any other element. We could look at all of them by their text if they have a text. I'm sorry. Yes, yes, label is HTML tag. Yeah, yeah. Like I think you are trying to ask that could we have do we need complete text, or could we also use partial text, right? Okay. So yeah, we could use both of them, but this way, the way you have seen, would be used to provide complete path, complete text. So if you want to use text with equal sign, with equals to, like this, so in that case we need to provide the complete text as we have given for show password. Okay. So but we have another way to found elements on the basis of their partial text, and finding elements on the basis of partial text is a very important topic. So it is our next topic as well, partial text based XPath. So let's suppose we wanted to find same element on the basis of partial text. Let's suppose we want to give password only, not show password. Okay, so then what do we need? We need to pack our text finding in the contains method. We have a function named contains. So even before showing the format, I could show it that here, let's suppose we had a method named text, but this method is not taking any parameters. Okay, so if we have another method which takes parameters, so we will call the parameters. Let's suppose I have a div, so which contains something, but it contains text. And what text does it contains? It contains pass. Okay, so here we have given partial text under the contains. So before we had these two attributes, text and the value. Okay, but we were using equals to inside them. So we were matching the text. Now we are not matching the text. Contains is checking that if text have this value partially, so then it would pass those elements and would filter those elements. So if we see here, so we have this format double slash tag name as we did, and then under the square brackets we have contains, and contains takes two parameters. The first parameter is attribute or property which we want to check, and the second one is the value against which we want to check. So for the partial text we have like these options. Instead of matching the labels text, we could verify the partial text contains, and then like this anchor which contains this text, and div which contains this text. So on the basis of contains we could find elements with partial text. uh, that answers your question, Sujata. Sorry, Anupama. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, we could use anything in the contains. If we want to find on the basis of partial text, so then we will use text. If we want to find on the basis of any other attributes and its partial value, so then we could also use contains for the same purpose. Like, yeah, anything. Let's suppose for this same div, we have this ID. Okay. So with this ID, I could use something like this at the rate ID. Okay. So it had ID had a value selection I1, had only provided selection, not provided I1. So on the basis of the partial value of ID, we found that as well. Got it? So here we could use anything. Let's suppose we want to use class. So as whenever we are giving any attribute, so then that attribute would be at the rate, and whenever we are passing a function, so that function would be with parenthesis and no at the rate. Now here we have this J G A. Okay, so we have this partial value and we found that specific element on the basis of partial class value. So contains could take anything, but the best use is with the text, that we could find things on the basis of partial text we see. Let's suppose here we want to find this element. So we could find it on the basis of anything. Let's suppose I will select this chunk only, TERS, from letters. So here we will do it like this. Contains text, then this TERS. Okay. So we could find things on the basis of partial text and could also find on the basis of partial attribute value. So here we have an element and we could find it on the basis of its text. So if we want to jump between child and parent, then we have some things in Xpath. So first of all, let's find an element. Here we have an element span where the text of the element is next with capital N. Okay, so we found that element, but we don't want to click that element. That span is inside it. Here we see that only this area is highlighted, inner text. So let's suppose I want to click the outer button. So then I could go to its parent. Okay. So for going to its parent div or the parent button, we have some commands. First of all, we could use slash dot dot to reach the parent. Okay. So by using slash dot dot, we could go to any parent, direct parent, and if we want to go to the next parent, so then this, like father then grandfather. So and if we want to go to a child, so let's suppose we are on this button and we want to go to this div which have this class. Okay, so I can simply use for the direct child, I can use a single slash, then tag name, and then the way we write a simple XPath. So after a single slash, we could write the an XPath the same way we do. So that's how we are going from node to node. First of all, we found a child, then a parent, and then another child of that parent. So that's how we are jumping between parents and children. So I will only use the XPath till there, where we are finding an element on the basis of its text and then going to its parent, and we want to click that parent apparently. Driver dot find element by dot XPath and click. Okay, that's it. So let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so we did everything and clicked on next, although our password is not accepted. So just for the sake of submitting this form, we could use a password which might be accepted and could execute it again. Okay, so that's how we reached the next page. Any questions by now? Uh, Sorry, I didn't got your question. Uh, can you please repeat? Yeah. Well, it is a simple concept of XPath, but it depends upon your understanding. If you think it is difficult, so it could be advanced for you. But like it is used frequently and usually this parent-child relation as well. So it is not a difficult topic. It is a simple one. Like if we want to reach a parent, so we could use we could use single slash with two dots. So that's how we could go to parent and its parent and its parent, or anytime we want to reach a parent. And if we want to reach a child from a parent, so then after finding a parent, we could jump to its child. Like, are you finding anything difficult with it? Not understanding anything? Yeah. Yeah. Well, one way to reach siblings is this way. The way we did that, we go to parent and then go to other child of that parent. So then you are going to sibling. So we have other ways using axis. So yeah, yeah, that is one way. We have other ways as well. Let's suppose. Can you see the screen? Yeah. Okay. Like, can you see this new window open here? Verify your phone number. Okay. So here, let's suppose I am going to this div first. Okay. So first of all, I will find this div, then role is equal to presentation. So I found that div. Okay, but there are many divs with that role presentation. So going back to this one, so let's suppose we are finding it on the basis of this class xkfvf. Okay, so that's how for the time being we found that div. So here we want to go to its ancestors. So if we want to go to the direct child, so there is one direct child, or there are two divs which are direct child of that specific div. So if we want to go, so it would be like this div. And if we want to find on the basis of index here, the thing you were asking before, so then we could go with indexes here. One would be always for first, and then two will be always for second. Okay. So here, if we know that we are already in a unique part of the page where index won't jump between different elements, then we could use index. But let's suppose we don't want to use index as it is not a very good practice. So we could use class again. And if I use like this, so both of them have classes, so both of them would be selected. Okay. So A1 VU. So by unique class, we find unique parent and then its unique child. Okay. So that is one way. And another way is like doing it like this. Instead of using this, we could also use, instead of going from child to child, let's suppose we are from a parent to child, then we want to go to its child. So we will do this div class equal to, I think there is an empty space. Okay. Okay, so that's how we are coming on one node, then its child, and then its child. But we could bypass things as well. Let's suppose I want to go to the ancestor div, or like child of a child in this case. So then we could simply use, remove this one here and use a double slash instead of a single slash if we want to go to children of children. So it would be like this simply. If we use double slash between two, so then that could be used quickly from one node to its child of a child. Okay, any questions by now? Well, you understand this part where we had one from parent to its child and then its child. Yeah. Yeah. Child relation is more simpler than parent relation. Like if we want to go to parent, so it is slash dot dot. If we want to go to the child, so it is single slash then child's XPath. Let's move. Oh, okay. Let's understand it again. I have this XPath of a parent node. Okay. So now if I want to create instead of this, if I want to create XPath for this one, so what would be the XPath? Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Do you have your internet stable? Yes, I can, but your voice is breaking and chopping. Hello. Hello. Anupama, my internet is stable. I think it's something from your side. Hello. Yeah, I am. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay, so I will explain. You could watch a video recording and could understand from that. So here I have an XPath. So if we want to create this XPath of the child, so I would simply do it like this, like this. So here I am finding XPath of this one directly. So I'm not, instead of finding it directly, I could also get help that it should be the child of this parent specifically. So for that, I will go to parents XPath, then would paste the child XPath. So after parent, I will paste the child XPath, and that's how we could go from one parent to its child. So that's it. Like doing the we are simply creating one XPath and just using single slash after one node's XPath. First we find the parent, then we put a single slash, and then we use the child. So from parent to child, we are doing this. That this is for the direct child, and if we want to go to the descendants, so we could simply use double slash. So double slash is for descendants. Let's suppose if I am targeting children div of this parent, so I will find these two divs, one, two, one, two, one, two. But if I am targeting descendant divs, so then it would include the children and then children of children. So it would be like all of them. So I have 1231 descendants here, children and their children and then their children. So I have everything here. So that's how we could go from child to parent and then parent to child and then parent to descendants. We also have access methods, but we are not discussing them in this session. We are simply using slashes to jump between the nodes, between the parents and children and descendants and ancestors. So, Anupama, can you hear me now? Okay, so you understood? Okay. So it is like, yeah, please go ahead. No, no, that's it for today. No, that's it for today. Okay. Well, yes, I could share. Are you following our LinkedIn page? Okay, I will share it on the page. So, like, there is simply one cheat sheet. So, if even if you simply write Xpath Locators Advanced Cheat Sheet, so you will get a link from Automate the Planet. So, I will share the link here as well. Yeah, yeah, I have shared the link in the chat. You could open it and save it. Okay, so that's it for today from my end. If you have any questions, please ask. For different XPath techniques which you could study here. Yeah, try to automate one sign up page other than this Google sign up page. Try to automate one sign up page and try to use the techniques we discussed today in it. So, like you will be making some some elements, some XPaths on the basis of their attributes, some on the basis of their text, some on the basis of their partial text, and some on the basis of their parent, some on the basis of their children. So you will find elements on these bases. So it will really help you in the future. And I will, sure, anytime. Yeah, yeah, hopefully. Okay, thank you so much. See you in the next session. Sure, please. Okay, bye bye. Take care. See you in the next session.